All right, let's get right into it. What we're doing today is breaking down a really compelling analysis that draws a pretty startling line between the potential future of Iran and the very recent, very sudden collapse of the regime in Venezuela. And it all boils down to one massive question. Could we be about to see history repeat itself in a huge, world-changing way?
Just picture this for a second. Imagine the streets of Tehran. You've got young women defiantly lighting their cigarettes from burning portraits of the supreme leader. You've got crowds taking sledgehammers to statues of old military heroes. The flag of the Islamic Republic is being ripped down, and in its place, the ancient lion and sun flag is going up. I mean, this isn't just a protest, right? It's a massive statement. The country is absolutely boiling over.
And that's exactly why the situation is so incredibly volatile right now. You have analysts looking at these widespread, coordinated protests popping up all across Iran, and they're drawing a direct and, frankly, a terrifying parallel to the shockwave that went around the world when Nicolas Maduro was suddenly removed in Venezuela. The patterns here are just becoming impossible to ignore.
Which, of course, brings us to the big one, the question that's really at the heart of this entire analysis. Is it this? Is the Persian Spring finally happening? And maybe more to the point, is Supreme Leader Khamenei next? Now, to even begin to get a handle on where this might be going, we've got to rewind the clock and really understand how we got to this point in the first place.
So let's do that. Let's go back. How on earth did a nation that was once known for being pretty liberal and modern turn into the rigid theocracy that we see today? It's a wild story, really, of a country swapping a crown for a turban.
So if you looked at Iran in the mid-20th century under the rule of Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, the country was going through this radical change. I mean, people were literally calling Tehran the Paris of the Middle East. The Shah was pouring money into huge industrial projects, pushing for Western-style schools, and there was this growing secular liberal elite in the cities. On the surface, it looked like a modernizing powerhouse.
But that was just on the surface. Underneath all that glitz, the whole system was rotting from the inside. The Shah, he was an absolute monarch, period. He crushed political parties, muzzled the press, and used his infamous secret police, the Savak, to keep everyone in line with fear. So while the elite were partying in Tehran, the poor, the conservatives in the countryside, and the religious folks felt completely left behind. They felt like Iran was losing its very soul.
And this is where Ayatollah Khomeini enters the story. From exile, he became the voice for all those people who felt voiceless. And check out the coalition he built. This is before the internet, remember? He used cassette tapes, of all things, to bring together this impossible alliance of Marxists, liberals, and Islamists. They all wanted one thing: the Shah gone. But when the king finally fled, their hopes for a democracy were just crushed. Khomeini completely outplayed every single one of them.
So how do you do it? Well, he put in place this core principle called Wilayat al-Faqih. In English, that's basically guardianship of the Islamic jurist. It's the political theory that the whole Islamic Republic is built on. And what it means, essentially, is that one top religious cleric gets the ultimate final say over the entire country. All those secularists who helped overthrow the Shah, they were purged. Iran didn't get a democracy, it just traded a king's crown for a cleric's turban.
Okay, let's fast forward now to our hypothetical scenario in early 2026. The year kicks off with a geopolitical earthquake. The regime in Venezuela suddenly collapses. You can bet the dictators everywhere are feeling a little nervous. But in Iran, the people aren't waiting for anyone to help them. They are starting to move.
Now, the thing that's kicking all this off isn't some grand political ideology. It's pure, simple survival. The national currency is basically worthless. Hyperinflation is out of control. International sanctions are crushing the economy. It all starts in the Grand Bazaar in Tehran, with merchants just shutting their doors in protest. But that little flame, it's caught by the youth, and it spreads like wildfire.
And this really shows you the key difference here. This new generation of protesters, they are not the same as the old revolutionaries. They're not being led by clerics, they're pragmatists, they're coordinating everything on social media, finding clever ways to get around internet blackouts. And they don't care about the old slogans like "Death to America." They just want jobs, freedom, and a shot at a normal life.
But look, the anger isn't just about the economy. It's also being fueled by this deep, deep frustration with the regime's incredibly expensive foreign policy. It's like a global web of chaos that's being paid for while people at home are starving.
To put it bluntly, Iran's regime has become a major exporter of chaos, and the protesters are just fed up. They're sick and tired of watching their government spend billions of dollars on foreign wars and proxy groups all over the Middle East and beyond, while their own economy is in total ruins. The disconnect between what the leaders want and what the people need is, well, it's not a gap anymore, it's a chasm.
And if you want to see just how far this goes, take a look at this example from North Africa. Iran is actively supporting a group called the Polisario Front. They're a separatist group trying to break up the country of Morocco, and Tehran is giving them diplomatic cover, media support, even military gear. And this is for a conflict thousands of kilometers away from Iran's borders. It's this kind of global meddling that's made Iran a pariah state.
So, all this brings us right back to the central comparison that started this whole thing. Is Iran on the verge of becoming the next Venezuela? When you start to put all the pieces together, the anger at home, the economic collapse, this new generation rising up, the parallels, well, they become pretty haunting.
Let's just break down the shared weaknesses here, because the parallels are really striking. First, legitimacy. Both regimes are basing their right to rule on these tired old revolutions from decades ago. Then, the economy. Both are completely addicted to oil and totally crippled by mismanagement. Next up, corruption. Both are being eaten alive by internal theft and repression. Their currencies? Basically worthless. And finally, isolation. Both have become pariah states with almost no real allies left.
You know, the really crucial point here is that we've heard this exact line before. Leaders in Libya, in Yemen, in Syria, they all said it. We are different. It won't happen here. And then it did. The script in Tehran is being rewritten by the hour, and as we all know, history has a tendency to rhyme. So all of this leads us to the final, and really, the only question that matters now. Where does this all go? What happens next?
Ultimately, when you boil it all down, it comes to this. Are we watching the beginning of the end for the Islamic Republic? Or is the regime going to manage to crush this movement with force, just like they have so many times in the past? The honest answer is, nobody knows for sure. But one thing is certain, the stakes have never been higher.